Hey guys, Caucasus on the review. This time I'll be reviewing the deluxe King Caucasus Kabuto Guardian Weapon Hercules Axe set from Ohsama Sentai King Ohger. This is the final main mech of the King Ohgers that can transform between the 3 modes and combine with the other Shu gods, as well as including its own Guardian Weapon. So, let's get started. So first up, we'll take a look at the Guardian Hercules. As implied by the name, this is a golden Hercules beetle. You can see some details like the horns and the eyes. A lot of nice paneling and details. And transformation from this one is pretty simple. We just open it up, and then rotate the head, and then comes the Hercules axe, which we'll get to use more later.
Caucasus Kabuto, strike!
Next, we'll look at the main mech itself, starting as Caucasus Kabuto Castle, which is the castle of Caucasus Ohger's kingdom. So as you can see by how I have the camera pulled back, this is quite big, quite wide. But let's take a look at it in detail. Starting off, we have the front gates, which are done up in gold with these nice chrome pipes. As usual, there is some asymmetry built into the design, so you can see there is a little bit of a damaged chunk right here. There's a nice little red gem in there. Now these 3 horns sticking out of them, each with some pipes, and again, hang on to the asymmetry. This is actually a little bit off center, and that's obviously part of that, just design philosophy they have going on. If you look carefully at it, you can see that really does look like a castle with a lot of bricks to it and all the parapets and ramparts. But you can see it's also mechanical, as there are little bits that are kind of damaged and showing some gears inside. More detail up here on the top. Flip it around to the back. You can see some other details, including this large chromed section, which has the Shu Goddom crest on it, which is the same one worn by Caucasus Ohger and Caucasus Ohger. Now, under normal circumstances, I would show this, though this is more something you can do with this, but not so much a proper feature. But yeah, if we take a quick look at the back of the box, you can see this picture here where it shows, the castle adorned with the various Shu gods that make up King Ohger. And like I said, normally I would show this off, but because of the way I have things set up, these are already combined together, and it would take a lot of time to actually take them apart. Plus, they don't actually connect on. It's more like you can just place them on there. So that's just something, kind of a minor thing you can do with this toy. After that, though, we can get to the first transformation, which is for the Shu God mode. So for that, we're going to take these parts here and disconnect them like that. Raise them up like this, and then lower them down to 1. Then we'll lower this down. We'll take these side parts and compress them together against the main body. And here we have God Caucasus Kabuto, which takes the form of a Caucasus beetle. Now, to explain the naming and why it's Caucasus Kabuto, not just God Caucasus, that's because of the way Japan kind of classifies this beetle, as they call it the Caucasus o Kabuto, or the Caucasus Great Kabuto. So they basically consider it like a bigger Kabuto beetle. If we can take a look at, you can see the signature 3 horns, as well as some details to make up the legs, kind of paint here on the sides. Though this is both a shoe god, kind of an insect, but also something of a tank, as you can see some treads all detailed nicely down here. And does bring out, a bit more of the details to it. Another cool feature is you can see a seam line down here in the back, and that's because, similar to some of the other shoe gods, you can actually take this and open up the wings to display it in a sort of flight mode. And so it gives it a nice, impressive look to it. And it'll fit in alongside all the other shoe gods. From here, we can transform God Caucasus Kabuto into its robot mode. So to start, we'll take it and stand it upright. Then disconnect the legs. And bring them all the way down, or almost all the way down. They're slightly bent outwards like this. Then we'll bring down the arms. Rotate the forearms around 180 degrees. And again, bend them outward slightly. Want to take off these two horn pieces that were previously attached to the head. Flip them around so that the gold pieces face forward. Then attach them to the shoulders, like so. From there, we'll convert Guardian Hercules into the Hercules axe. That places it in its right hand. And then we'll lift up the visor to reveal the face.
King Ohger Kabuto.
And here we have King Caucasus Kabuto, which, as you can see, is so tall that it can't even properly fit within the camera frame. But if we bring it closer, we can take a look at some of the details. So first of all, we now have the head, with its face revealed beneath the visor, and the very tall horn adorning it. You can see that the part that was chromed at the back has now become the chest plate, though it does immediately also kind of look like a face, which is an interesting thing about it. You can see the horns connect to the shoulders nicely. Have the molded on the fists, as well as the feet and the legs. And of course it is equipped with its own signature weapon. Now articulation-wise, because of the way it's designed and because of the way it has to transform and combine, this is one that does have a bit more limited articulation, with most of the articulation being in the arms. You can actually rotate the head left and right because of the little joint there that's for something that'll come up in a little bit. But with the arms, it has various clicking joints, so it can be rotated up and down, in and out. You also have that rotation for the bicep, as well as one for the wrist. And yeah, that piece flies off a little bit easily, so you want to be careful of that. And yes, there is a little bit of posability to the legs, but that's mostly inwards and outwards, and it doesn't really allow you to do too much with it, but again, this is a quite nice robot mode, and especially just really like the black and gold color scheme, which is, I think, something that works best, really good on just about anything. It's just a very good color scheme in general, especially with the added touches of red. But beyond just that, we also have combined mode with the other two gods. And finally, we get to the ultimate combination between Extreme King Ohger, King Caucasus Kabuto, and all of the Guardian weapons. So to start, it will be easiest to set aside everything but King Caucasus Kabuto so we can prepare it. So for this, it's going to require a lot of dismantling. Remove the Hercules axe, and I'll actually split it into two pieces. Going to lower down the visor and remove the head. Take off the shoulder pieces. Then I'm going to take this back piece and actually lift that up and off of the body, which will then allow it to take the body and split it completely in half. So for these pieces, going to detach the arm part, and then take it and connect it onto the side, like this. As well as tilt this piece inwards. I'm going to lift up the piece like this. Like this. Now it's ready. Do the same thing for the other side. Just like that. Going to take this piece, flip this part out, and open up these. Then we'll be getting started with the rest of it. So for Extreme King Ohger, the first thing I want to do is focus on the legs. Detach God Hachi and God Kamakiri. Set that aside. And we're going to come in here, tilt this part back, and then tilt this upwards. So we can take it and then connect it here. Will then allow us to load this down and connect the foot here, like so. Do the same thing on the other side. So there we have the new feet, which we can then take and place the bite into. So nice and carefully get these in there. Feel the top joints. It's a little bit tricky, but once we get in there, should hold pretty securely. I'm actually just going to detach these because it's being a little bit troublesome. And then straighten out the body, like so. We'll reattach these knee parts. Just again the whole torso. A bit more straightened out like that. Right. So from there, we can come around to the upper body. And we'll go around to the back. Actually, no, before that, we're going to detach the head. Detach the crown from Extreme King Ohger. We'll attach the part of God Papillon that made up the head. Just carefully pry that off. Just let me get that again. This is a little bit tricky, but I know what I'm doing. I have this under control. So get it like that. So then we can detach the sword from the back. I'm going to do a little bit of something to help give this add stability, which is to take the legs, take these legs of God Tarantula, and have these little divots in the legs, which will then basically rest in. This will help give this some much needed stability. As you can see, it's already a little more upright. I'm going to lower down these arms like so. Just going to take the weapon here, place the crown back in, and switch it to the other arm over here. Then there like that. And there we want to take off God Papillon. So we can place this back in there. Which is always a little bit tricky, but again, it is possible. Then I'll place it back on the sword. Something like that. And then we're going to attach it to the back. Like that. We'll also bring in a couple of the guarding weapons. Specifically, the rolling hammer and steel gatling. For the rolling hammer, we're going to convert into the weapon mode. Switch around this hand here. Then just place it in there like that. Then convert the steel gatling, attach it over to this side, like that. We can come back around to the front. And we can kind of straighten out the body a little bit. Going up top, raise up these legs, which is where we'll attach the PED chainsaw. And cicada blade. Then lower it down to the torso. Here we're going to do a little bit of detaching. We'll take off the chest plate, as well as the lower god Kumo. We're just going to take this part of Guardian Hercules, attach on here, then that will attach right on back. Actually, I think I have this slightly upside down. I'll attach back on like this. And there, and put this right back on. Then we're going to take this piece and place it over top here where the previous head used to be. And take this piece, snap it into here. And rotate this all the way around. I'm going to take these horn pieces and attach them to the sides. And finally, take this remaining piece and attach it up here as another horn. And now, after some adjustments to just straighten it out, we have God King Ohger, the final big combination for King Ohger. And of course, as you can see, it is one of those combinations that is so big that even pull it as far as I can, it does not fit in the frame. So, let's get closer and take a look. So first of all, we have the head, which has 4 horns to it, the 3 from King Caucasus Kabuto plus 1 from the Hercules axe. And a very clever design choice is that even though it doesn't use the original King Ohger head, the head of King Caucasus Kabuto instead has stored inside it a kind of fake head to give it the appearance that it is the original King Ohger wearing this large crown. You can of course see the new chest plate adds on to the previous one, giving a lot of nice, more black and gold to it, as well as adding the silver chrome along to the gold chrome. And see more black and gold pieces added. And the legs I want to pay a special note to, because these absolutely are an improvement from what we had going with Extreme King Ohger, where, truth be told, that thing was just very unstable, but because of the way they have these implemented, it now will stand up a lot more easily. We still have the Kabuto cannon and Scorpion Claw on there. Let me take this around to the back. You can see we have this whole assembly here. And again, we now have a little bit of added stability here. And even all these attachment points for the guarding weapons are quite impressive. I do want to mention these two up here, the Cicada Blade and Pete Chainsaw, because the instructions will tell you have these facing straight upwards, but it is more accurate to the show to have them fold down over the shoulders to still have these shoulder cannons going on. And it is pretty wild that, whereas with the original King Ohger, because the biggest piece was God Kawagata, with all its red, you could see a lot of red in that primary combination, but the more we go along with it, and getting up to this final combination, you can see that a lot of the red is hidden behind the nice pieces of black and gold, but this is still a very impressive combination, especially for the fact that it has all 20 Shoe Gods combined, with no pieces left out. And I think, as just about any Super Sentai mecha collector will tell you, it is always great when you have a combination that doesn't leave out any pieces, and this is a very good example. And there we go! Overall, for our first large final mecha in several years, King Caucasus Kabuto is a good return. On its own, it does make for a good mech, with its 3 modes, and having at least a little bit of articulation, not as much compared to the others in the series, but still good for something of its size. Not to mention, it's not limited by being a kind of carrier or whatnot, and it does help facilitate the final combination quite well. And as far as God King Ohger goes, though it is a little bit complicated to put together, once it is all put together, it is a very satisfying mech, and like I said, it gets big points for not leaving out any parts, and it's the kind of thing where if you perhaps haven't picked up any of the previous mechs at this point, perhaps like the guardian weapons, then they might be worth picking up if you plan on getting on this so we can make that final combination. So if you have been collecting the King Ohger mechs up to this point, I can definitely also recommend picking this one up. Now, before I say what's going to be happening next time, I want to give you guys an idea of what's the future of my channel is going to be looking like, at least for the near future. For those who might be wondering, I have not yet picked up any Commoner Gotchard toys. The toys don't appeal to me quite as much as with previous seasons, but I will be getting to them at some point. So instead, I'm going to be trying to focus on the backlog of things I have not yet reviewed, especially some of the bigger items. With that being said, next time I'll be reviewing the Geertlinger Memorial Edition. So, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you're new and would like to see more, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And for now, this is KRX50, Riding off.